Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Double Tap here on YouTube. This week, you are asking us anything. We are fielding your video questions and hopefully giving you some reasonable answers.
The latest tech.
People love iPhone, and it's an important part of our daily lives.
Interviews.
You see far too many products that come on the market that you look at that you say, was a blind person ever even consulted for something like this?
Accessibility.
The most interesting thing over the last couple of years is the emphasis on gaming and accessibility.
This is Double Tap TV.
Welcome to Double Tap TV. I'm Mark Aflalo.
And I'm Stephen Scott.
And Stephen, this week, Sean Priest is with us yet again. Hi, Sean.
Hello. How's it going?
Now, Mark, the reason that Sean is here again, other than, of course, his excellent looks and taste, at least that's what it says here, is that we get a lot of emails and voicemails, and we've been getting them here on Double Tap TV and on our daily podcast. Not just voicemails, I should say. Video mail. Is that a thing?
Well, and I've got to let you guys at home know that we get to everything. We answer every email, every tweet, every DM, so please keep them coming.
Yeah, we read them. Yeah, absolutely. And we also love answering some of your questions as well here on the show, because some of those questions are great and actually worth sharing as well. So welcome to our annual end-of-year Ask Us Anything show.
Ask us anything.
That was a bit dramatic, Stephen.
Yeah, it was a bit. Okay, well, let's start with a question from a blind griller.
Hey, Double Tappers. My name is Chris Peltz, and I'm the host of the Blind Grilling Experience. I love smoking and grilling meats and try to help others who are blind and visually impaired to enjoy it as well. And I use a controller that is made accessible, but there are some built-in controllers that are not made accessible for the blind or visually impaired using VoiceOver. And my question would be to you guys, what would be the best way to approach a company to try and help them make their apps accessible for the blind and visually impaired so that they can use the same technology in the grills and smokers that everybody else is using?
Well, Chris, great question. And, that's a really good... I'm so glad you asked that question and not what's our tips on, the best equipment to grill outside, because I'd have to say the answer to that is get Mark to do it. Oftentimes when you contact a company to tell them about an accessibility issue, what is really good to do is record on your iPhone or your Android phone, record a short video, use a screen record or send an audio message or whatever it might be, but let them hear, let them see what the problem is, the challenge that you're having. Because oftentimes these companies will not know about accessibility and they need to understand what the issue is. And by showing them, it will get you some way forward. Sean?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, don't go out on the attack. Always just try and open the conversation. And as well as showing them what the problem with their app is, also sometimes it's worth showing the way that other accessible apps do it. So record an app that does work well with VoiceOver and show them, this is what's possible and this is what your app is missing.
Guys, we got a question here from Vaughn in audio form.
Hello, Double Tappers. Wondering if you would consider a review of the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max camera system, particularly the Pro Max, and the impact, if any, that such a significant camera upgrade will have on an Aira agent's ability to see what's around them, and also on optical character recognition. I'm aware that the size of the pictures is controlled in the settings on iOS 16 for a 14 Pro Max. Wondering if you opened it right up to a 48 megapixel image, whether you would see any OCR or AI improvements. Also love to know whether the new camera assists Aira agents at all, because improvements in technology that impact or improve our ability to get access to visual information are like a new set of eyes for people who are blind. Love your show. Take care.
So really interesting question, Vaughn. Thank you for asking that. And I think when it comes to the cameras inside our smartphones and the capability of them in the way that you're talking about, so for example, does it improve OCR? Does it make it better for an Aira agent to see through? I think the short answer to that is, and Sean, I don't know where you stand on this, but I think the short answer to this is we're kind of at a level now where the cameras, yes, they are improved on these new devices, on the iPhone 14 and on the iPhone 14 Pro models, definitely an improvement. I don't know if it makes a huge amount of difference to the ability for an Aira agent to see or for us to be able to scan text?
No, not at all. When we're talking about higher resolutions, 48 megapixel, for OCR, no, it doesn't make a huge difference.
Guys, let me just interrupt for a second and explain what OCR is. OCR stands for Optical Character Recognition, and it's basically pointing a camera at a piece of paper and letting it interpret what it sees as actual text.
Now, unless you're working with T's and C's or contracts with incredibly fine small print, then for standard point text, honestly, a 5 megapixel camera, which we hit years ago, is more than adequate. So it's a bit of overkill. And honestly, I don't think you would notice any difference when it comes to the accuracy of OCR. When it comes to something like Aira, the field of view, how much you can see out towards the sides, yes, but I don't think there's going to be a massive difference again. Nothing that's going to make you, say, upgrade from your previous iPhones to the iPhone 14 camera system purely because it may have a slightly bigger field of view. I'm not even sure it does. And to be honest, talking to Aira agents, it doesn't make a huge difference, really.
Okay, well, from the Aira perspective, I don't really want to assume too much here because I don't know. Mark, can we call a friend?
Yeah, who do you have in mind?
Janine Stanley, of course, from Aira.
Is that Stephen Scott? No way. Hey, Stephen.
So we just had Vaughn ask the question to us, new cameras inside the iPhone 14 and the iPhone 14 Pro, do they make a difference to what your Aira agents can see on those devices or through those devices?
Oh, Stephen, thanks. It's a question a lot of people ask us, and as I crawl out from under the bus, I will give you the short answer and then the slightly not short answer. So the short answer is the new cameras really don't make much difference on an iPhone. Most agents, unless they specifically look in their dashboard during a call, don't know what kind of device you're on, save for the Envision glasses. So they are really busy helping you rather than looking at so much the device. Now that said, it's possible that the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max are going to make it less likely the agents will need to take a photo. Honestly, the cameras on the Android phones are better, but we do occasionally have issues with the Android phone cameras. So there's the long and short of it. When it comes to cameras and Aira, it's all about the lighting. So we don't do well in low light, even with low light cameras on the phone. So you're going to need some light, you're going to need good light, and you're going to need a good internet connection, which also can affect your camera, especially on the blind shell and on the Envision glasses. The Envision glasses have that nice wide view, that 111 degrees, I think, where the phones have a little bit narrower view down to 100 degrees, I believe. So that's the long and the short of it, Stephen. Hopefully that answered the question.
Okay, thanks, Janine. Have an amazing day.
That was pretty impressive, Stephen, having that kind of contact standing by and ready to go. I'll have to try that one a little bit later if I can.
Definitely. Now, this is Double Tap TV. We've got more questions to ask after a quick break.
You're watching Double Tap TV. Get involved. Follow us at Double Tap On Air or email us feedback@doubletaponair.com. Double Tap TV will be right back.